Have you ever been to a convention or went to an old retro games shop and tried to buy any of the old versions of Pokemon? You'd think they'd be pretty cheap considering how old they are and how easily accessible they are to everyone that has a PC. But no, they're so expensive. The proper sealed versions, the ones that aren't created in a lab, the ones that aren't fake, the sealed versions, so expensive. And they're old. But now, the retro video game market has officially crashed, according to Carl Jobs. Let's see what that's all about.
You absolute legends.
Oh,
In
thank you.
July of 2021, the video game world was shocked when a sealed copy of Super Mario 64 sold for $1.5 million.
No way, $1.5 million. I understand that it's a collectible, so these kind of things are all based off of how much people are actually willing to spend on these items. But $1.5 million? If I think about it for a second, there are Pokemon cards that have gone for way more money than that. There's sports cards. There's all different types of versions and games. So you know what? Maybe $1.5 million isn't the craziest thing in the world that could happen. But who has this much money? Is it a person that's an actual fan of the series? Is it a Mario legend? Is it Mr. Nintendo himself? Because that's the only person I can imagine having that much money to spend on one copy of Super Mario 64. And you know these people do it because they think that it's going to increase in value. They see it as an investment. At least most of the people do anyway. The people spending $1.5 million aren't doing it because they really want to play Super Mario 64. They're not going to open it. They just think it's a collectible that's going to increase in value. Or they think that it's cool because there's not many versions of this in such good quality because they have it, 9.8 rated, A++ sealed? Let's be honest, there's probably not very many of those.
By far the most expensive video game ever sold. In the years prior, sealed video games had skyrocketed in price, increasing in value by 1,000% or more.
I wonder if Mr. Mario knows how much his games are going for. He should get a cut of that.
This prompted me to look into the situation and find out what was happening. In August of 2021, I released a video calling out fraud and deception in the retro video game market. More specifically, I outlined in detail how the video game grading company, Wata Games, and the auction house Heritage Auctions colluded together to create an artificial speculative bubble in order to funnel money from the public and personally profit. The response to that video:
that is crazy because if you don't know, these auction houses, when they do auctions at the auction houses, they get a cut of the profit. So I assumed that they could collaborate with the grading company to say, hey, listen, we got this Mario here. You're going to love it. We're going to give it to you. You're going to give it a good grade. When we sell it for millions of dollars, we'll give you a cut of the profits. That would be insane. And it would completely destroy all credibility of the grading company. And that's all a grading company has. If you lose the credibility as a grading company and people think that your grades aren't what they should be, then boom, your company's done. No one would ever go to you ever again because why would they? Why would anyone buy a collectible from a grading company that has no credibility whatsoever? It's totally pointless.
It was amazing, with almost universal agreement from the wider community that what was going on was not only morally wrong, but also likely illegal. I did receive some pushback, however, from a small percentage of people, and one of the things some people disagreed with is that I said there was indeed a speculative bubble. Some people were upset by this, and they claimed there wasn't a bubble and that video games really were worth this much money.
When it comes down to it, it's all what people will pay for it. I don't think anyone thinks that a video game is really worth $31,000. But as a collectible, it might be worth that if someone is willing to pay for it. Hey, what's going on? Oh, nothing much. Just bought Mario 64. Oh, cool. How much did that cost? Just the GDP of a small island nation. Right. Most normal people aren't going to pay for it because no one's got 31 grand just lying around to spend on buying a video game, right? No one's fucking doing that. But for rich, artsy types people that think that maybe buying it and investing in something will make it increase in value over time, like you would a house or a piece of fine art, which the whole fine arts industry probably a scam as well. Let's be honest. How do you define the value on a piece of art? It's very hard to.
It wasn't that there was a bubble, it was just that video games were previously undervalued and are now just catching up. When I made my assessment, I looked at the speed at which prices increased. I looked at who was involved in creating the market. I looked at how much market manipulation there was, and I compared that to similar bubbles in the past. And I believed that the prices were way too high, and were driven almost entirely by speculation. Well, both opinions can't be right. Someone had to be wrong. It's been 2 years since I made that video, and I think that's enough time to check in with the market and see where it's at.
Let's check in with the market, boys. Oh, 150 grand for Contra. Yep, that looks fine. I'm sure everything is fine over here.
And as it turns out, I was completely correct.
As someone who works in the art industry, it's absolutely a scam. Yeah, I totally believe that.
Since 2021, sealed video game prices have plummeted. Across the entire board, prices are down 50 to 90% and sometimes even more. Some
Oh man,
people
it's just like
lost
NFTs.
hundreds of thousands of dollars on a single game.
That's the problem with investing in things that don't even have intrinsic value. You could say like a house has intrinsic value because you can at least use it for something. It's something that you can use. A car is something that you can use. You can still go from place to place. You can still use a house to live in. But when it comes to art, you can't do anything with it. I can't use Van Gogh's latest painting, which is never going to happen because he's dead, to do anything. I can't use it to do my dishes with. I mean, you could, but that would probably get you arrested. So what for these collectibles, video games, sports cards, anything like that, there is 100% a huge chance that it could always plummet in value, like Pokemon cards did after COVID when they skyrocketed in value. Everyone probably knew it was a bubble, and of course, it came rocketing right back down. Although it's still at a baseline, I think, more expensive than it was before COVID and, Logan Paul and all those first set, base set boxes being opened and graded and sold off and things like that. It still went right back down.
And it wouldn't surprise me if some people lost millions in total. We will compare the price they bought the game at with the price they sold the game.
John Madden football was worth 480,000. I mean, I'll take it. I'll sell. Even if I sold my house and took every penny I have, I wouldn't even be close. That's so insane. That's ridiculous.
With the price they sold the game, to see just how much money they lost. And there will be no excuse here because almost all of these purchases were made well after my video came out. The information was available and yet people continued to buy. I
probably just didn't see your video, to be fair. But I'm sure it's a very, very good video.
Hope you enjoy.
I'll actually have to check out the video after this one.
Now, legends, it's that time again when I tell you to look after yourself. And that's why today's video sponsor is Geology, who offer award-winning skin, hair, and body products.
I love taking care of myself.
The bee's knees when it comes to self-care, and all of their products are super high quality.
Hold on, there's a QR code in the top left. You should scan that QR code.
Trust me, people will notice a difference. Personally,
I hope so.
My skin is super oily, so I need to use Geology's everyday face wash or my face looks gross. And
yeah, my nose, incredibly oily, but the rest of my face is super dry. You can even tell, like, my nose, it's shining. It shines all the time. Super oily all the time. So maybe this would be good for me.
I use their nourishing eye cream because I have massive black eyes from not getting enough sleep. But if you have problems with dry skin or acne, Geology is perfect for that too.
Yeah, definitely have some problems with that as well. Damn, he's talking to me right now. He's talking like directly to me. I'm going to have to click that link in the description, I think.
A range of products including body washes, deodorants, and hair shampoos and conditioners, and they all smell incredible. The process is super simple. Just take a 30-second quiz and Geology will...
What can we help with? Acne, under eyes, aging, dry skin, sensitivity, sun protection, redness, oily skin. Can I just say yes? Where's the all of the above option?
A personalized routine right to your door. If you use my link in the description or scan the QR code and use code CarlJobs100, you will receive 100% off your personalized skincare routine.
Free?
That is a free trial of the 26-time award-winning skincare.
That's so cheap!
All you need to do is cover the $4.95 shipping. Plus, they will give you up to 30% off an extra product of your choice.
No, really?
For a long time, and this is the best deal I've ever seen, so don't miss it.
That's big. That is huge.
What I despise is people who don't really care about video games, just using them to try and make money. They buy a game and try to sell it to someone else for a higher price.
That's what I'm saying. The people that are spending $1 million on a graded video game aren't doing it because they're big fans of Super Mario 64, most likely. They're doing it because they think it's going to increase in value and they can maybe make 100 grand, 200 grand just by the price going up by 10% or even less than 10%. So you can just make a nice little quick buck without having to do much work and putting much effort. Imagine the work and effort that people have to put in to make $100,000. For a lot of people, that's years and years of work, slaving away, trying their best. And some people just roll in, pick up a graded game, and then wait a couple of months, try and sell it for that much more.
These people,
it's not much. It's
value.
Easy money for a lot of people, so that's why I think and it's not much risk because a lot of these people are freaking loaded anyway. It's not like they're investing their life savings. They're not taking out a second mortgage on their house so they can buy Mario 64 or Super Mario Kart or anything like that.
Society. They prey on the love and passion people have for gaming and use their wealth as a weapon to steal money from others. Speculation is the problem. Not collecting, not grading, not auction houses, just greed.
Yeah, there's no problem with someone that wants to collect a collector's edition of a game or buy a really old game so they can have it in the house because they're not trying to sell it on for $1 million afterwards.
The only way this practice stops is if people start losing money, which is why all of the following examples are great for collectors.
This was the same problem what happened with Pokemon cards. Again, I make the same reference. Back when the Pokemon card explosion boom happened, all the scalpers were going in buying up all the cards so that they had the entire supply and they could sell it for so much more. But they want people that wanted to actually open the cards. They want people that wanted to actually play the game. They didn't care about the game. They had no passion towards it. They just wanted to make money off of people that genuinely enjoyed something. They were like, ooh, I can siphon some more dollar bills out of these people, which is shitty and scummy, bad.
So I don't have to keep repeating myself during the video. All of my comparisons will be for the same game, the same print, and the same grade in order to make the comparisons as relevant as possible. Oftentimes as well, even the same copy. Let's begin with an absolute doozy. Madden NFL is a popular sports series that has been running for over 30 years, and its first installment came out in 1990 for the Sega Genesis. Often with popular franchises, the first game in the series is highly valued. And in January 2022, a copy sold for $480,000.
That's ridiculous.
Auctions really hyped this game up, even including a video explaining how rare and amazing it was. 1 year later, in January of 2023, a copy sold for $21,600.
And it's a 9.2 rated as well, but it's rated by a different company, right? This one is rated by Wata, but the other one was rated by CGC. And I know CGC does Pokemon cards and sports cards like that as well. So Wata's went for $480,000. CGC's went for 21 grand. 5% of the price, I think. I don't know if I can do maths. I'm probably an idiot. I'm probably can't do maths.
$21,600. A 96% drop in value and a loss of almost $500,000 in 12 months.
Oh my
Tomb Raider is a
God.
classic, the franchise is very popular, and one of the few gaming IPs that transitioned relatively successfully to the big screen.
Something about Tomb Raider. I used to love playing Tomb Raider, but I sucked at it when I was about 5 years old. So I had to watch my aunt play Tomb Raider instead. I didn't realize until recently, because she didn't get very far into the game and you'd have to restart the game every time because I don't think we had a memory card or anything like that. There's a fucking T-Rex in that game. Like, sorry if that's spoilers for an ancient video game. There's a T-Rex in that game, and there's like centaurs. I thought there was just lions and maybe bandits every now and then, not dinosaurs.
And it all started with the 1996 release on the PlayStation. In July 2021, a 9.4A copy sold for $144,000. 2 years later, a 9.4A++ copy, a copy that has an even better grade, sold for just under $5,000.
Okay. That's a big decrease. I mean, I can't say anyone who's paying $115,000 for an old Tomb Raider game is not going to be hurt if they lose $115,000. This is not something that you stake your entire future on. It's not something that you put your kids' college funds on. It's not like that.
A 97% drop and a loss of $140,000.
So I don't think I feel that bad because, if anything, it's a return to a little bit of normalcy with the video game prices. So it's probably a good and healthy thing for the market in the long run. And it means that a lot more people are able to actually get a hold of these things and acquire them if they're not insanely overpriced. It means that it's not just rich people coming in and taking advantage of a situation. So maybe it's not so bad, but man, that's got to be a kick in the balls.
And this past weekend, a 9.4A+ copy sold for just $4,000. Resident Evil is another hugely popular franchise. The survival horror series includes some amazing games. And again, it's another gaming franchise that did fairly well after it made the transition into movies. Resident Evil started with
Hey, let's be honest. Those Resident Evil movies, they were great. I remember going over to my friend's house and watching those Resident Evil movies, and we just make fun of it the entire time. There was one clip where the woman just keeps shooting forever. She has no clip. There is no magazine. There is no ammo. She just shoots absolutely forever. It's great.
1996 release on the PlayStation. In October 2021, a copy of the original Resident Evil sold for $264,000. This was the long box variant, which is rarer and attracts a much higher price. Several days ago, on November 3rd, the same copy sold for $38,400.
The same copy. It's not even a similar grades. It's not anything different. It is the exact same copy of the game sold for that much less. Oh man, they gotta be kicking themselves in the balls, or not balls, so hard.
A loss of over $200,000. Now, when I say the same copy, I mean it's literally the same copy. This Resident Evil is from the Dreamer Collection, and we can also tell it's the same copy from the identifier on the back. But
why even bother selling it at that point? I mean, you've already lost 200K. Do you need the 38 grand? Maybe they went bankrupt because of their poor investments, which honestly, that wouldn't shock me at all.
But what's interesting is that it's even the exact same picture that was used in both auctions. Heritage Auctions always takes photos.
Hey, work smarter, not harder.
So if it's the same photo, that means it never left Heritage Auctions. Someone bought...
Losing $200,000, actually $200 and almost $30,000 in precisely 2 years has to be the worst investment that has ever been made.
This game for $264,000, kept it in the Heritage Vault for 2 years, and then sold it for $38,000.
They kept it in the Heritage Vault, so they didn't even take it. They didn't even take it home. They just left it there. They basically bought stocks. It's like they bought options, lost 200 grand, and was like, ah, damn, I lost 200 grand. Guess I'll take the 38K and put it in like fucking like Tesla options instead.
I assume they kept it at Heritage because they were hoping to flip it through a later auction for a profit. But boy, did that backfire. And this might not be the only game this person incurred a huge loss on. There were several other games that were also bought in the same auction on the 29th of October 2021.
This very same auction on the same day. Man, they sold a lot of pricey video games that day.
That went up for resale on November 3rd, and they were also the same copy and used the same picture. This almost certainly means they all belong to the same person.
Yeah, it was the same guy.
October 29, 2021, a Zelda 2 sold for $102,000. Same copy, same picture, sold on November 3rd for $14,400.
November 3rd, 2023 was not a good day for whoever this was.
October 29, 2021, a Russian Attack sold for $43,200.
What in God's name is a Russian Attack? Does anybody play on words? Like you play as a Russian guy, it's like, hey, we're Russian Attack, right?
2023, same copy, same picture, sold for $7,800. October 2021, a Twisted Metal.
It just keeps going.
$7,000.
Oh my God.
November 2023, it sold for $17,000.
Can we get the total amount of loss on this? I wonder if he's going to tell us all how much it was in total.
Fantasy, originally bought for $18,000, sold for $6,600. There could be more, but in just those 5 games, this person lost $430,000.
Oh my God. $430,000. That is, for most people, that can be like 15 years of their life working to make that much money. If you're talking like the average, if the average salary was like 30K in America, that's so much money. I'm gonna cry for this person that I don't know.
And the amazing thing is they never even got to see the games they bought.
They bought it, put it in a vault. There's so many better ways to burn 400 grand. You could go do 400 grand of blackjack and hookers and you would have had a much better experience.
Now to everyone's favorite game, Tecmo Bowl. Of all of the NFL games ever released, this was definitely one of them. In January 2022, a 9.4A Plus sold for $144,000. Just over a year later in April 2023, a 9.6A Plus, a game in better condition, sold for less than $5,000, a drop in value of almost 97%. This next example isn't as much money, but just goes to show that even obscure titles were going for ridiculous prices. In July 20...
It's really funny to have PokePark be said as obscure. Like, I understand it is definitely obscure. It didn't really sell that many copies, but it's still like part of the biggest media franchise in the world, which is really funny. Holy 22 grand for a fucking PokePark? Dude, it's a Wii game. Who cares? No one is going to spend. This is a Wii game. I bet you could find a sealed version of this on eBay right now for 15 quid. This is ridiculous.
21, at the peak of the bubble, this Pokepark Wii went for 22,800. 2 years later, it sold for $600.
That's still too much.
Drop in value of 97.4%.
That's still way too much. Make an offer to the owner, $900 or more. No, thank you.
Likely the biggest percentage drop of any game sold on Heritage Auctions. We definitely need to show Sega some love. And what better way to do it than by looking at the original release of Sonic the Hedgehog on the Genesis.
Oh my god, I need to find this guy. I've got something to tell him. Does anyone know who this guy is? Listen, I have a brand new, unsealed, unopened Nintendo 3DS that has multicolored buttons on it. Look at these, the multicolored buttons. I will sell it to you for the low price of 15 grand, mate. Trust me, this is an investment that you want to make. You can sell this in 2 years for maybe £2.50. It's going to be a great buy for you.
In October 2021, a copy sold for $312,000. Just over a year later, in November 2022, a copy sold for $38,000.
It's only a 90% decrease, guys. It's only a 90% decrease. We did it, everyone. Listen, it could have been so much worse. Only losing 90% of your money is a big W in this day and age. Congratulations. Fantastic job. The art of the deal.
$300,000. And this sale was a year ago. Who knows how much lower this would sell for today? Here is an even crazier example though. In September 2021, a 9.4A sold for $420,000. This prompted the creator of Sonic, Yuji Naka, to ask if it was some kind of scam. In July of 2023, a slightly higher graded...
Could you imagine? That would destroy the price of this collectible, wouldn't it? If the creator of the entire thing came out and said, "Oh, what the fuck are you guys doing? Why are you selling them for this much? What's going on here? What's happening? No, don't do that. Don't do that." Then the price of the collectible, it's gonna go way down. Everyone's gonna be like, "Wait a minute, hold on. Maybe Sonic isn't worth $400,000. Maybe the creator of the entire franchise actually has a point here."
Copy sold for $28,800, a loss of almost $400,000 and a 93% drop in value. Mario Kart 64 is obviously a classic and is definitely one of the more sought-after games on the Nintendo 64. In April 2022, a 9.6A++ copy sold for $144,000. In November 2023, a 9.8A++, a higher graded copy, sold for $36,000, a loss of well over $100,000. The original Smash Bros. Is another grail for the Nintendo 64. One sold in July 2021 for $144,000.
A lot of these copies have been selling for $144,000. Am I crazy? Is that just me? Because the Mario Kart also sold for $144,000. Who decides these prices? Like, why would they choose $144,000 over $143,000 or $146,000? Why? Because they're all sealed? Yeah, but it all starts at the same one, at the same price, and it's all sold around the same time by the same people. Is it because it's bidded? Look, this one as well. Techno Ball, $144,000. Do you know how much you can do with $1,000? I cannot believe that why they would say it that high to begin with anyway, and why they're all selling for like the exact same price. It feels so weird to me.
Then the exact same copy, and we know it's the same copy because of the barcode on the back, sold for $15,000 in January. Have to give a shout out to the original Zelda, definitely a grail for the Nintendo Entertainment System. This example is interesting because there were two sales, both for the exact same grade and for the exact same amount. A 9.6A+ copy sold in October 2021, and another in January 2022. Both
Rich people are so dumb. Do they not know that they can just download it on emulator? Are they dumb? Are they stupid? Why do they not just play on their PC
for
instead?
$156,000. And several days ago, one sold for just $14,000. A loss of more than 90% and $140,000 each. Ironic.
This is proof that rich people are not smart.
The biggest total loss happened well before the bubble even burst. In July 2021...
Oh, here it comes! The big one, baby. Let's make some guesses. Let's make some guesses right now. What do we think this $1.56 million Super Mario 64 then sold for in the modern day and age? I reckon if we're talking like 90% decrease, I reckon it's like 50K.
A++ Super Mario 64 sold for $1.5 million. Then just a couple of months later, a copy sold for $800,000. Still a huge amount, but a loss of $700,000. It's hard to know exactly what a 9.8 A++
Fuck, it's still 800K? That's insane. I mean, it is the golden grail of video gaming. I want to see if one sold today, what would it be for?
Sell for today, but we can use a different grade to estimate. On the same day as the record-breaking sale, an 8.5 A+ Super Mario 64 was sold for $31,400, and several days ago, one sold for
90% decrease.
$360.
Okay, so a 90% decrease on 1.5 million is what?
Drop of around 90%. Seeing as this is in line with all of the other examples, a 9.8 A++ would probably sell for between $150,000 to $200,000.
Oh my god, that's so insane. Still more than I thought it would be, to be honest.
Of course, it could even be lower. What's for sure, though, is that the original buyer has almost certainly lost well over $1 million. A lot of people lost a lot of money, but the people that got in early, or the collectors who sold when the time was right, became rich overnight.
True. The person that sold Super Mario for $1.5 million has got to be laughing to the bank. He's like, these fucking idiots. Oh my god, they bought my Mario for 1.5 million? I could buy 100 Mario now.
Prices haven't completely gone down to where they were before the bubble, but I don't think they will. There are now multiple auction houses and multiple grading companies all still trying to build the market. What will be interesting to see, though, is the result of the What A Games class action lawsuit, which is still ongoing.
That's going to absolutely shake it. And still, like Pokemon cards, like I mentioned before, it's not gone down to before the massive bubble. But usually these things don't, especially when you think about like inflation and stuff like that. When there's rapid price rises and then eventually they come down, they never come down to where they were before. They're still slightly higher, or at least maybe a lot higher than as they were. It is like this. It is the economy. It is the nature of financial sadness.
We at least now know there was a bubble. What is yet to be determined is if anyone will be found responsible for its making. Thank you.
Yeah, that's kind of insane. This is a great video by Carl Jobs. I think that was absolutely fantastic. I would absolutely recommend you go and subscribe to him because he makes amazing videos on this kind of subject, but also on a lot of speed running and things like that. I've watched a few of his videos in the past and they're really, really good. So please do go and subscribe to Carl. Also, if you want to see more of my dumb face, then you can subscribe here as well.